according to Tyler and what we have. As we go through this, tentatively, that's the assessed value. So, we're at the maximum 26 mils for county taxes, and that 26 mils times that 2.2 current assessed value comes up to about $57.5 million worth of tax revenue. And that's what we plan to do, is get $57.5 million in tax revenue versus this new assessed value. 1982, $2.2 billion. 2022, $16 billion. So when you do the math, instead of 26 mils, it's going to come down to about 3.5. That's actually right now on the books, until all these appeals come through. It's about 3.5857. And so that's what the number versus that assessed value has to be applied.
And you're operating at a budget of about $57 million, you said?
Well, that's the operating income from tax revenue. There's other fees, flow through money, and different stuff that we operate the county with.
It's interesting because there's a lot involved that a lot of people, regular citizens, taxpayers, don't understand about it. And I know that I've heard you guys all say, and what Tony said the other day, he said, here's the bottom line. If you think you can sell your property for what they assessed it at, don't worry about it. If you don't, then appeal it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's an interesting way of going about it, and going through all these different things. And I've heard all of you commissioners say over the course of the last 2 weeks, we're not going to raise your taxes. In fact, we have a certain level that we can go to. You need to look at your school board and your local municipality if you think the taxes are going up.
That's a different issue, and we don't control the local school boards or the municipalities. That's the way the Commonwealth works, right?
Right.
So we have that, but the last time taxes were raised were I think 2017, and even before, I think taxes have only been raised like once in the last 20 years at the county level. So that's what we operate with. We're fiscally responsible to get the maximum we can out of that tax revenue to provide the services that we do, and the breadth of services from 911 emergency response to the sheriff's department to the tax collector, the assessor, the treasurer's office, supporting all of these different functions that we have that are necessary, essential duties of any county government.
Yeah. Commissioner Jack Manning is our guest, and every year seems like an election year when you're in politics, and you guys are running for office again. And as we talked about reassessments, we go through the history and know that Chuck Betters was the one who took you all to court and forced your hand in getting this reassessment done. Would it be a prudent decision during a campaign season for the commissioners to say, because you all say that it was Chuck Betters, we didn't want to do this, to say we're not taking any campaign contributions? I know money is the lifeblood of a campaign, but for a developer that would it be prudent?
Yeah, I don't know if he's made any recently. He certainly has in the past. He's supported me. I'm very open on that. Didn't solicit him. He volunteered to give me something based on what he saw. Now, I will say this. That lawsuits before I came into office, I had nothing to do with that, and those guys fought that lawsuit as far as they can. I still don't know. Someone asked me before, what was Chuck thinking? I have no idea what Ms. Betters was thinking. I don't know.
He has a lot of properties.
What's on all I know is he owns significant amounts of property, and if we want to do economic development in Beaver County, you're going to have to deal sometime with Mr. Betters. And
you got about maybe less than a handful of developers working in Beaver County that buy up a lot of properties and hold on to them until they find the time is right where they're going to make some money off.
They do. Not only in our downtowns, and we've seen that with the struggle sometimes to revitalize a lot of our legacy riverfront towns, but certainly along the riverfront, there's very, very little public lands or privately held. It's privately held from an industrial standpoint. These former industrial sites, brownfield sites and stuff. So you're going to have to deal with whoever owns those if you're trying to get something done, whether it's recreation or future business.
Speaking of recreation and tourism, I just had Tony Calteri on the program a couple of days ago talking about all kind of great things happening in Beaver County, not the least of which is trout season, and the other one is the Maple Syrup and Music Festival.
Yeah, we just had a successful opening day of trout season, and a lot of good crowds there. Drove by Sunday and saw a whole lot of folks fishing at Brady's Run and down the streets there. And then the Maple Syrup Festival, that was the The big issue with the power lines being down was they're doing a lot of prep work.
That would be.
Push is I think, well on their way. They could always use more volunteers. If anybody wants to volunteer for the Maple Syrup Festival, I suggested that you get a hold of.
You'll be there flipping pancakes, won't you?
I don't flip pancakes. But my wife and I have volunteered for that for, I don't know, 10 or 12 years prior to skipping there. We usually help Brent Applegate and the history landmarks folks in the Conservation District. They used to always have a booth side by side, and my wife and I would pick a day, and we'd work that.
Do you dress in
that
colonial
tent.
outfits?
I don't, but Brenda does. It's always fun to go there and just see a lot of people from out of the area is addition to seeing the regular folks.
That's what's amazing, isn't it? Because in talking with Tony, and the number of people that come to Beaver County, not just former residents who come back home, but people because they find out about it. We publish in magazines that they get at their hotel rooms. It's all over the place now on the Pennsylvania sites to come to Beaver County because this is where we have that's appealing to people.
Yeah, what makes Beaver County, I think, so remarkable and why it's become my home, and I've got my whole family here now, my sons, my daughter-in-laws, my grandchildren live here, it is the amount of green space and the great parks and stuff that we have. The rivers that run through here, I think, just make Beaver County so unique, in the streams and the lakes. And Brush Creek is a real gem and a jewel. Economy Park and Brady's Run, we've tried to invest a lot there. We have a lot of great plans there. The Environmental Discovery Center that we hope to be starting sometime by the end of the year. It's just a remarkable place, and I think it's a hidden gem and an asset that we all should be sharing.
Okay. And you talked about the grandchildren being back. How's that? Because all my family is close. My kids and my grandchildren have always lived here, but yours were away for a while. What's it like to have them back?
It's everything. If I'm smiling too much here
grandchildren
on this, it's
are
great. I mean, we moved up here from Virginia 22 years ago as empty nesters. My boys were back in Virginia. My younger son moved to Hawaii, worked for a defense contractor in Hawaii for 16 years. Married my daughter-in-law from Japan. They have a 3-year-old son. They just moved back into the area. He moved from Hawaii. We did. Seriously, you want you want to move back from Hawaii?
Right, I was going to say that.
But they're happy here, thrilled here. He has a job. My older son had moved up here, married a girl from Beaver Falls, and they live right up there in Patterson Heights, and a 15-year-old granddaughter that's at Black Hawk, and it's just great for the first time in quite a while.
Dinner together, huh?
Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter. It's just terrific.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And I know over the years we've talked in different capacities that you've had, whether the chamber or commissioner, you've always been involved in some way. So your days are taken up, your nights going to meetings and functions on the weekends and things like that. Now you have to decide. Do I want to spend time with the grandkids?
I know. Well, I try to include them in more things than not. But little Jack, my 3-year-old grandson, obviously trying to spend a lot of time with him. We didn't see him for a long time. COVID kept my son from seeing him for 20 months. He was stuck in Japan, and Justin was stuck in Hawaii. Couldn't travel back and forth. We couldn't get Emmy and little Jack out. So a lot of makeup time there from when he was early. So got the car seat in my car out front, as a matter of fact, Mike. So.
Very good. Beaver County Commissioner Jack Manning is with us, and we've got a lot of things to talk about. There's development across the street with the beehive that's going on. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
A number of other things. You mentioned history, and you and your wife like to get involved with the historical end of things. There's a history next month.
History weekend.
Weekend.
The first weekend in May. Yeah. My wife runs the McKinley Schoolhouse for Chippewa there, and that's one of the sites that will be open that day as people can tour around the county.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little more as we continue our conversation on the Best of Beaver County Radio Show on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. Our guest is Beaver County Commissioner Jack Manning.
I'm Patty.
And I'm Bob. We're retired, and we live at St. Barnabas in the Village.
We used to have a house.
Lived in it for 40 years.
Raised our kids.
But it became too much. The upkeep, the stairs.
Moving seemed like such a hassle. We didn't even know where to start, so we didn't.
Until we met Cindy at St. Barnabas.
She talked us through our options.
Yeah, and she helped us with our move and all the arrangements.
There was so much stuff.
Festival, the County History Week that's coming up in May. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, at the History Weekend, it's the first weekend of May every year. They open up, I don't know how many sites, I'll probably misquote this, but there's a dozen or two sites that are opened up. Mm-hmm. And they have tours and stuff that aren't normally open, like my wife running the McKinley Schoolhouse. That'll be open that day. They'll have tours and different displays and those kinds of things.
Is that
so?
The McKinley Schoolhouse? Because I know there's one going up Brady's Run. There's one off to the side. It's Brighton Township, right, Mark? A little schoolhouse over there. And this one is over by the new ball.
The Veterans Field there
and all that stuff
in Chippewa.
Yeah, just a little building
that complex that's there. Okay. And the one in Brighton Township will be open, I believe. They usually open up. The Air Heritage will have something opened up.
And all the libraries.
The Vickery Mansion. And all those historic sites. Hookstown has a Hookstown site and stuff. So all across the county, there'll be a map. There'll be more information on that. And people can kind of check off driving around the county that weekend and visiting all these historic sites. Darlington has their big industrial museum there and stuff. So just some great displays and a lot of history.
We take it for granted. We live here. We take it for granted.
Yeah, and you really get a chance to see some.
Yeah, these are one-room schoolhouses that used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, right up there on the road. It's fascinating. So people will get a chance to go in and look through them, and your wife and other people will tell them about
and
the
stuff.
history
There'll be
of it.
somebody there kind of
usually
giving them the history and a rundown.
Last time I think I saw them churning apple butter out at the Vickery House.
Vickery House, they do that.
Yeah, very good. So many sites. And so this is going on for an entire weekend.
That'll be that first weekend in May. Yes.
Okay. And is there a fee to get it?
No, these are all open.
Okay. Very good. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Across the street, they've been doing development. I see them at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure they're here all afternoon as well. It looks like they're making some headway there.
Yeah, it's exciting for me. The Beehive, it was actually an initiation that the Chamber started several years ago to try and bring an incubator, trying to bring more entrepreneurism and more opportunities for entrepreneurs to take their intellectual property to market. And how do you do that in programming and stuff? And it devolved into its own entity. And then the Beaver County Corporation for Development got involved. I give a lot of credit to the board, obviously a part of that board, the commissioners are, but Lou Velati for purchasing the building and being able to house that. To try and do these things, it's kind of three legs of a stool. You need a property, you need a manager, and you need programs and different things there. And being a property manager, the CED is really filling that. I'm excited about this. When you look at the labor market right now, our unemployment at the end of March in Beaver County was 5.4%. It's about 1% higher than the state average. And when you look at data nationwide to the people that have left the work world, and you look at the unemployment and the struggles that people have in attracting and retaining talent, I read some data recently. 5 million new businesses were started last year. Small businesses were started. That's up about 500,000 more than the year before. So 2021, 4.5 million. 2022, 5 million. most of the people that are quitting their jobs are going into this. 49% are working for themselves. They're leaving what they've done. They're either burnt out or just
Sure.
wanting to make a change. And the interesting thing is it goes across all age segments, right? From baby boomers to millennials, they're all leaving traditional jobs where they're working for somebody else and trying to create their own entity. An incubator, the Beehive, we hope is a catalyst for helping people do that. There's programs there through Penn State Beaver, Launchbox. They'll help you kind of take, again, that intellectual property that you have, these ideas that you have. How do you bring those to market? How do you make those successful? And what we're hoping is that this will be kind of the hub of spokes of entrepreneurism that happens all throughout the county.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be more excited to finally see it come to some level of completion.
And we've seen growth here in Beaver Falls. I know you were really intimate in a lot of planning that went on in Beaver Falls before you became commissioner. New Brighton, I had Tom Albanese on the other day, and he was talking about the developments over there. There's just so much going on. Bridgewater, I think all the businesses that you're talking about being developed are going to Bridgewater.
A lot are going to Bridgewater, but Bridgewater, Monaca, Ambridge is taken off. They've all reached a tipping point. These are all downtowns that I've worked in for several years. And there's some great people there, even though borough managers turn over and other things. There's a momentum now, I think, for Beaver County and for entrepreneurship. And if you look at job creation and where it comes from, small business still creates more jobs than any single entities around. And that's why small business and entrepreneurship has been the heart and soul of Beaver County forever. I mean, that's our legacy is we like to build things and make things, including our own business. Right. I mean, that's our legacy.
Adds to the tax base in Beaver County as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you look to turn around. I saw some data just the other day from the thing Pittsburgh Works Together. It's a group that I've been engaged with and involved with. Beaver County is one of only 4 counties that actually increased the amount of jobs over the last 5 years. Allegheny County has lost over 50,000 jobs in the last 5 years.
Wow.
50,000.
So people
50,596 to be exact, according to the data they had.
Yeah.
And when you look at, I think, the entrepreneurship, the revitalization of our downtowns, the cracker plant, quite frankly, we've been able to create about 1,500 jobs.
Amazing.
And that may not sound like a lot, but when every other county is losing jobs, and the Allegheny County, by the way, was 67th of all those, the worst county that we had. The city of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County are losing population, but they're losing jobs as well. We're doing something right here, I think, and I think things like the Beehive will continue to allow us to have positive job growth, positive opportunities for people to come, raise their family, have a business, and a bright future here.
Yeah. You mentioned Lou Vellotti, and I can't help but think, and Lou's a great guy. I love having him on because he's always talking about things we don't know about. And when he talks about jobs, he says you don't see them because there are a lot of manufacturing thing that's going on, and they're hiring people and they're expanding.
Exactly.
They're not on the beaten track, but they're there, and they continue to spend money and invest in Beaver County. So Lou Vellotti and Tony Calteri and you're commissioner, so you're the managers. But how could you make it without this group? This web of different agencies and people in those right positions to keep this thing going in a positive direction.
Yeah, we've come a long way, Mike, in the 22 years or so I've lived here. One of those ways we've collaborated and come together is the colleges and universities. I mean, the fact that CCBC, Geneva, and Penn State Beaver all have a stake in this is obvious, but the fact that they're collaborating together, have articulation agreements, they're all a part of the Beehive here. They're all going to have curriculums and inputs and resources dedicated to that. I mean, that's a huge change from when I first moved here. And as you said, I've been involved in a lot of organizations, been around the county. I rarely saw somebody from Penn State Beaver or from Geneva at these meetings. Now they're all at the table. CCBC was always there because community college worked at a different level. But the engagement and the amount of stuff that we're doing, the training, the workforce development, the entrepreneurship programs, then the county's on board with these, with our community development, where we're putting our HUD money and stuff. But then I see a civic engineering taking place in which our nonprofits and our faith-based organizations are also coalescing and rallying around this. You look at the chamber itself from when I started to where it is now. It's a much more diverse representation of the economy of Beaver County versus the small business of Beaver County that it was before. Yeah. Right? You have municipalities, you have church-based groups, you have nonprofits, you have small business, you have industry, you have everybody at the table there, and there's been a great coalition, coalescing, if you will, of a perspective there, understanding that we're all part of the fabric of Beaver County, and when you have spots that need repair or spots that need boosting up, you repair those.
And some people, I guess, would say might be a little negative in terms of when we get too many nonprofits involved, too many 501c3s out there buying up properties, and we're not getting the taxes from them.
Well, and that is what's important, I think, there is there's a place for all of those. You may not just want them on your downtown. When you're trying to make a vibrant downtown, having nonprofits that aren't paying taxes isn't going to help make that vibrancy happen. But there are places over top of storefronts or a street or two to the side in which they can still continue to be part of the community, an important part of the community, and add value. But from a pure downtown development standpoint, yeah, nonprofits don't really add to the vibrancy all that much.
But it's all coming together.
I think so. I mean, there's been. I'm so proud of Beaver Falls and Ambridge, Monaca, Aliquippa. I'm heading there this afternoon. There's another big development project that we're working on there. It's exciting to see, and I think we've reached a tipping point. I think we're our legacy riverfront towns, particularly, are coming back, and I'm very, very passionate about all of those communities.
And what are you proudest of? Because I know you run on and you always talk about you were involved and maybe still are the No Labels campaign.
Sure.
And so it takes Republicans and Democrats and independents alike to make all this work, doesn't it?
I think what I'm most proud of is the good governance that we have exhibited these last 3 years. And that comes from putting aside your differences and understanding what's important to the people of Beaver County, what's important to Beaver Falls, what's important to Hanover, what's important to Hopewell, everybody's stuff. And how do you do that in a balanced, collaborative way? And I think I'm most proud of the fact that there isn't a lot of drama. There isn't a lot of chaos. We don't have the state and the national issues at the local level, and I think that's attributed to the folks that we have in there and the willingness. And I would like to think that I played a role in that as well. In that I can get along and I can find agreement with anybody. I mean, I get calls. People know I worked in the petrochemical industry for a long time. I get calls from environmentalists. I have great conversations with them. We find some common ground, and we move forward, even though they're ideologically opposed to everything I did for 35 years. Yeah. So all of these things, I think it's just a matter of being able to listen, understand, have some empathy, and find some common ground.
Jack, tomorrow morning's headline will read, "No drama."
Yeah.
Beaver County Commissioner Jack Manning. Thank you, Jack, as always, for coming in and talking with us.
My pleasure.
All right, this is the Best of Beaver County Radio Show on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. I'm Mike Romigh. We'll talk again next week. Stay safe. Be healthy.
Falling in love is one thing. Having anxiety about falling is a whole different subject. If you or a family member are concerned about falling, and yes, either up or down the stairs, or maybe even out of bed, St. Barnabas has a special message and some ideas just for you. Years of experience in working with people who are prone to falls has given St. Barnabas special expertise in this area. Call them at 724-443-0700 and learn about ways that you can begin to feel more confident and safe, including suggestions that you can implement right now into your daily routine. Call St. Barnabas at 724-443-0700. For many years now, St. Barnabas has been helping people fall, in love that is, with their new, better life. a longer life, a risk-free life. Call St. Barnabas now at 724-443-0700 or visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com and learn more about living longer and better.
Thank you for listening to the Best of Beaver County. St. Barnabas is pleased to have provided content and sponsorship for the program. Tune in this Sunday at 11:30 for an encore presentation of today's program on Beaver County Radio. And next Thursday at 11 for another edition of the Best of Beaver County on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM.